Hello everybody, it's Damon. Crazy Logics 007 on YouTube and Crazy Logics in the forum. I got some parts in. We're going to see about replacing some of this stuff on the Rockford Fosgate Punch 40 DSM. Sorry if there's some background noise. It's hot. The fan is going. If I have to, I'll do voiceovers. I don't know how to do that yet, but I'll figure it out. So the first thing we need to do, so here's all those little caps for all this. I don't think we need to replace any, but I went ahead and finally got me a supply of them. I had like 10, and so I just went ahead and got some, just in case we end up having to have them for this. Here is the 4.3K. Little resistor that's going to go here. We've got a 4.7 there right now. So going ahead, get this one out. I'm going to have to, there we go, find my old man glasses. Just looking at tiny stuff is tough anymore. Let's see about getting these out. Nice thing about surface mount stuff is that you can order 50 or 100 of them for pretty cheap. So you slowly build up. Every time you're making an order and you order something new, you're slowly building up your inventory. And then hopefully eventually you'll have the right parts to do all the repairs you need instead of having to make orders like I do. I do this as a hobby. I don't necessarily have everything I already needed. So it is late already. I'm getting tired. I'm going to work on some other amps and probably do some recording, because I need to get some other stuff done and trying to get things out. Before we move, I'd like to get rid of some. So that's out of there. I'm going to go on ahead. There it is. Clean up these pads again. Bugs everywhere. Oh, everything's tough tonight. Ugh, makes me achy. Okay. Let's get going here. We're going to clean up the pads with some solder wick. I'm going to put the tiniest dollop of fresh solder on one side. Place this resistor where I want it to go. Heat up that pad. And catch the other side. Didn't end up getting perfectly square. That looks better. Alright. That is that one. And we had some 1 microfarad caps to replace. 2 of those and 2 resistors. And then we can do some more testing. Anywho's, let's see if we can. Hey, the light comes on. That's always a good sign. Oh, put a CD in here. Fire up the O-scope. May or may not need it. Nothing. We're getting turn on, turn off thump. Nothing from over here. So that's not good. Well, now we need to troubleshoot it. Make sure none of that's hot. Well, troubleshooting we shall go. Let me get all this redone the way I want and hook this all up, and we'll troubleshoot. Alright, got it all hooked up, got ready to send the frequency into it, did a little bit of frequency sending. Kind of see here, scope on there. Oh, I don't have that on. So I sent it a little 60 hertz or so to it. Instantly the output FETs got super hot, popped the fuse, turned the gains all the way back, or not the gains, the bias pots all the way back to see if I could do a little more troubleshooting, and they kept getting insanely hot. So I am going to mark my FETs and draw them out so that I know which ones did what. So if I got my output block, and I got a FET here, And a fit here. Oh, you guys can't really see that. The glare is just something else. Let's see if we can do this in a spot where the glare is a little less. Off that white. Maybe if I add more glare, it will help. Maybe that might have offset it with camera catches a little better. So I'm going to mark them as 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and this is my B plus and ground. These are out. And then I know, so I get these unsoldered and I'm going to test them with my little tester. Also, I just fired up the probe and I was testing for signal, and I should get signal up through the board, out through all this stuff, based on the schematic here. Signal should come in, go up into 8. This side should come in and go up into 12, and then they pop out from 21 and 20 and 21. So they pop out of here and they go over. If you look up here, this is for the left channel. It comes into C102, and so that's, that is this little cap right here, and C202 on this side. And so I probed this with my multimeter and I got distortion, and that one I didn't get anything. So we probably got problems on this board because that's right before it goes to these output drivers. So the outputs were getting driven somehow weird and wonky. So this may be a case of those caps being bad. Probably take this board out and do a little checking and work on it too. So I'm going to take it out, take the outputs out, test them, make sure none of them got bad, because they did get hot, so hot that I just barely tapped them. They was hot, and it had popped my 10 amp fuse. And so my input board looks to be bad straight from the get-go, and it may be those caps. We may end up having to replace all these little caps. That may actually have been electrolyte that was on this board. Not 100% sure. But I'm going to start pulling this apart, take these off. I'll put them over here and we'll run them through the tester to see what happens, and I'll probably have this board pulled out so we can inspect it. We know the power supply is running okay. So once these FETs are out, then there's no risk of, insane damage to anything. We can then do some testing on this board. So give me a little bit to get that all unsoldered. I may shoot a couple shots of how these boards come out. They're just a card that slides in a slot and it's solder joints underneath. As a matter of fact, if I get this a little better. So it's just a solder joint all along through there. So what I'll do is I'll go through and add more solder, and then suck it up and solder wick it real good. Give it a little wiggle to make sure it's broke free, and just jiggle it out of there. So I will get to doing that. Oh, you're wobbling a little. Okay, got the board out, got these out. Let's hit the button. This is number 4. These are the two that were getting hot, which was 3 and 4. You guys can't hardly see that for the glare. 3 and 4. And it's a resistor, double resistor now. Wonderful. I don't know what I need to replace BUZ11s with off the top of my head. I may have some in a parts amp. But I'm sure there's a modern replacement. But I may have to change something here. That one shows up as resistor. So those were the two I definitely figured something might happen. They were getting smoky hot real quick, even while I was pulse testing, and then all of a sudden my okay, so that one comes up as FET and in-channel FET. So that was number 2. So let's see what happens with number 3. So 3 and 4 figured they were dead anywhere, and so that one comes up too. So that was the channel I think we're getting speaker bump on, so we were just not getting proper signal to it. So let's see if I can. So this little sucker here, if we do the special stuff and get right up in here, and so my arm's gonna shake. Sorry. There we go. It's a little more stable. Right there. So see the corrosion on the little pin near the resistor that says 202 on it? So down by the 0 on this LM833. There's corrosion there, and there's a little bit of greenness to the legs. That is more what I was expecting to see on that board. That was more what I was expecting to see all over here because of what that residue looked like. But it does look like that residue's all over here, and I wonder if it's from these caps. So what I'm going to do is put a drop of solder on each cap there if I can, so that it'll lower its melting point, get my hot air, and get these to come off without trying to blow off everything on there. Clean this board because it looks like there might be a little corrosion there, but there's definitely some there. Inspect this trace. This one right there on that leg we were talking about is the ugliest looking one. Get this all cleaned up. Just make sure these are discharged, and then I'll actually test them on my tester. It can test capacitors also. It's not as good as a LCR meter, but if they're way out of whack, and then I've got those brand new ones, I can stick a brand new one on there to see how far out of whack. If these are all out of whack, obviously we'll replace them, get them back in. We may have to go to this board and replace all these. I'd like to get that all done, and then at least be able to get those FETs back in. So I'm going to do that little bit of work. I'll probably pop in with a couple of things. It just takes so much time to try to chat and do that whenever I need to focus on little bitty circuits that I'm going to do it off camera, so that way if it's hard or something and I cuss at it, you guys won't have to listen to me cuss. But like I said, I'll put a drop of solder with my soldering iron on all those places where those connect, and then use my heat gun to be able to lift them off. I may try to get some shots of it. We'll see what happens. It's hot and I'm sticky. So if it had been winter time, maybe it would be a little more comfortable to try to angle around cameras and stuff, but I'm wanting to get this one done, so I'll come back and I'll tell you everything I did for certain. But I'm wanting to get this one done because I want it for that SBL little challenge. I want to at least enter a little bitty Rockford cheater amp because I think it'll be fun for everybody to at least see. And then when I use the same subwoofer and I go up in power, everybody can kind of see the difference and see how good really a little bitty old cheater amp can do. So I'm hoping anyway. It may fall flat on its face compared to everything else. You never know. So we'll find out.